Welcome back to Face the State. We are joined by Republican candidate for governor, Bob Stefanowski. And Mr. Stefanowski, I have another viewer question for you. Joe Rossetti of Newington says, Hartford, New Haven, and Windham have designated themselves as sanctuary cities, meaning police there generally don't enforce immigration laws and may refuse to cooperate with federal immigration officials. What would you do if the president said, you must comply with my order?
Well, regardless of what he says, I think we should enforce sanctuary cities, Dennis. I think it's a slippery slope if you try to pick and choose what federal laws you're going to enforce and which ones you aren't. I'm very sympathetic to people in this country, and we need to take care of people that need it. But a law is a law, and if you want to change it, you should go through, that process rather than picking and choosing what you want to follow.
As you know, your commercials try to tie Ned Lamont with Dan Malloy, and his try to tie you to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And the most recent Quinnipiac University poll shows that while President Trump is more popular than Governor Malloy in this state, he seems to be more of a factor in terms of voters' minds.
Yeah.
Do you have a relationship with President Trump? Have you talked to him, and do you anticipate him coming here to perhaps help you?
I've never met him. I've never spoken to him. And by the way, I have to jab you on your poll. You have me winning by 13 points.
My Twitter poll, yes. Unscientific, but nevertheless, you did win.
Listen, I like his tax policy. He's cut taxes. He's put America first. He has created jobs. The national economy grew at 3% in the second quarter. Our economy is still stagnant. We could use some of that. I don't like the rhetoric, Dennis. I've got 3 daughters. I don't like the tone of some of the rhetoric, but I'm running for governor of Connecticut. I'm not running for president. I'm not running for Senate. I'm not running for House. The people that I've talked to want me laser focused on fixing this economy, lowering taxes, and if the national economy is a great example of what can be done.
So I'll give you a chance to respond to Mr. Lamont's commercial. What's the difference between your leadership style and President Trump's leadership style?
I'm empathetic. I really do. And I'm not saying the president isn't, but I'll give you my style, which is I care about people. I've been married for 30 years. I grew up in Connecticut. I've got 3 daughters. I want to invest in education and health care. I care about this state, Dennis. When I graduated from high school in 1980, this state had a ton of opportunity. Kids today don't have that opportunity. But again, the right way to give opportunity back is not more of the last 8 years economic policy. It's time for a change. We're screaming for it. Ned Lamont is more of the same. He's Dan Malloy version 2.0. We're going to lower taxes. We're going to get this economy going, and we're going to invest in education and all the things that are important to people of this state.
As you mentioned earlier in the program, your income tax pledge relies heavily on people moving back into the state, cutting some things, and getting businesses to move back as well. Any prediction on what the population of Connecticut, how much it will grow during the 4-year Bob Stefanowski term?
I don't have statistics, Dennis, and I don't think people are looking for an overnight solution. What they're looking for is common sense. They're looking for some tax reduction. They're not looking for another $10 million toll tax study. They're not looking for $5 million being spent for a $500,000 property. They're looking for somebody who's going to come in with leadership, who's going to be fiscally disciplined, who's going to start to trim away at all the excess of taxes and create growth. And that's how you start a workout, Dennis. You start very gradually, and you get people feeling better about it, and people will respond.
In terms of possible revenue generators that have been discussed, expanding casino gambling in our state. As you know, MGM wants to sink nearly $1 billion into a casino in Bridgeport. Yet right now they can't because of the compact with the tribes. As governor, do you see casino gambling expansion as part of your growth plan?
I've met with the tribes. I've met with MGM. I think we need to come up with a comprehensive solution. The tribes have been a good partner, but as you know, the slot revenues are down every year. If we could figure something out in Bridgeport that didn't impact employment in the eastern part of the state, if we could do it with a holistic approach and get revenues up, I think we should look at it. Unfortunately, Governor Malloy has left such a lousy economy. We can't rule anything out that creates revenue right now.
You've said that you're against legalizing recreational marijuana in our state, yet our surrounding states are doing it. Do you see that as inevitable? There are some who say, well, it might even be legalized nationwide someday. Do you think Connecticut should get in on it now to make money?
I'm okay with it for medicinal purposes. I think it's a great pain management tool. And I'm not against it forever, but what I'd like to see is a test for impairment. I think safety has to be our first concern. And right now, you can't test for impairment if somebody's driving under the influence. The results in Colorado are still mixed. Let's see how that goes. I'm not saying never, but part of leadership is focusing on what's going to move the dial. And what's going to move the dial in Connecticut right now is fundamental tax reform, not talking about legalization of marijuana.
Is there anything in Connecticut that perhaps is undertaxed or underfeed that you see as a potential revenue generator?
That's a hard one, Dennis. I don't. I mean, we have 350, Dennis, and the mentality of the other side of the aisle is if we just add one more, we're going to get a different outcome. And definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result, we cannot continue 8 years. I'm going to change it, Dennis. The other side of the aisle is not with Ned Lamont. That's why I'm getting the reaction that I am right now.
Bob Stefanowski, Republican candidate for governor, we thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning. Best of luck. Next Sunday, we'll be joined in the Face the State chair by the Democratic candidate for governor, Ned Lamont. Oz Griebel was here last week. You can watch that right now on the Channel 3 app or on our YouTube channel. We thank you for watching Face the State on this Sunday. Enjoy the rest of Hartford Marathon weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow in the news.